While Oklahoma remains a conservative red state in many respects, our medical marijuana laws are anything but. Some critics have dubbed it recreational light. And that was the focus of a recent report by our content partners, Oklahoma Watch.
We talked to more than a couple dozen patients, and they all kind of said it was pretty easy to go talk to a doctor, get the recommendation. None of the patients we talked to had a follow-up at all with any of the doctors that did the initial recommendations. So you've kind of got a 2-year gap there until, as a patient, to see that doctor again. Well, right now there's probably about 240,000 licensed patients that have cards, which is almost probably about 7% of the adult population or so. So that's way more than they expected. They kind of were thinking maybe 60,000 in the first year or so. And then we've also, on the dispensary retail side, got about 2,200 licenses out there, and that doesn't mean they're all up and operating. There's some kind of turnover and flow between people renewing licenses and people not wanting to be in the business anymore. We can do kind of the per capita numbers. Among the medical marijuana states, Oklahoma has the highest per capita dispensary kind of impact across the state. And so in the first year, actually, we had about $345 million in retail sales. The tax commission estimates. Then that translated into about $55 million in additional tax revenue to go all around the state and local municipality kind of coffers for that. We have a very kind of patient-friendly approach to this, and that was intentional from State Question 788, which was passed in 2018. The backers kind of looked at what had happened in other states and kind of seen roadblocks that got thrown up along the way. And so essentially here they said, look, you've got to have licenses ready to go in 60 days of the State Question passing. And they made that mark. You've got to give some credit to the regulators at the Marijuana Authority to kind of get that going. But there were also put in the State Question, there was no patient qualifying conditions. So that essentially meant the doctors were kind of the gatekeepers in terms of how, if they thought that patient needed a medical marijuana recommendation. I mean, it comes down to, your personal thoughts on medical marijuana as an industry and as a business and as a need for patients. I mean, definitely, we talked to a lot of patients who thought it really helped them. It's kind of a free-for-all right now in terms of how some of these dispensaries are advertising and kind of pushing the product inside the dispensary. So, it's a pretty good deal if you're a medical patient, but we also know there's a segment of the market that saw an opportunity to get a card and is kind of happy about it, just being a patient kind of in name only.